What if the biggest problem in crypto isn't price? What if it's the fact that blockchains cannot talk to each other? So if blockchains cannot talk to each other, we do not have mass adoption or interoperability. This is where Wormhole steps in. So in this video, we're going to cover what problem Wormhole is solving, what's under the hood, so to speak, and then we're going to talk about their ecosystem and scaling. So at the end of the video, you're going to have a better understanding of who is working with Wormhole, what they're doing, and how they are doing it. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into the first story. This first story is going to come out of Missouri on January 21st, 2026. This research will be down in the description should you want to look at it yourself, which I encourage you to do so. Always do your own research. Don't take our word or advice by any means. It's your money. Do your own education. Very important. Let's jump on in. Look at your screen with me. It says Wormhole is scaling interoperability across chains and institutions. So we have key insights. Wormhole connects over 40 blockchains and has processed more than $70 billion in cumulative cross-chain volume and 1 billion cross-chain messages. Wormhole's NTT, which stands for Native Token Transfer, is huge, by the way. Standard aims to replace fragmented wrapped assets. NTT is already in production across multiple deployments, such as RLUSD by Ripple. Wormhole Portal also has evolved from standalone bridge interface into multi-chain gateway. Institutional adoption spans tokenization in real-world asset platforms such as BlackRock, Ripple, Apollo, Hamilton Lane, Mercado Bitcoin, Centrifuge, and Securitize. Okay, so now that we have some couple insights, we have some key topics that we're going to talk about. You can see where this video is going to go. We're going to break down Wormhole so you have a better understanding, because I know you probably have heard about Wormhole, but have you really dug into who Wormhole is and what they're doing? Before we move forward, if you like anything on this video, please consider hitting that like button, commenting, sharing. It is very important to get this video out. And all my returning viewers, subscribers, you know I really appreciate you guys and everything you guys do for the channel, so thank you. But you guys also know that when I do a one-off project that is somewhat smaller, like Wormhole, there's just not a lot of demand on YouTube, so not a lot of people are searching for it. I really need some extra love on these kind of videos. Hitting that like button, commenting, even if it is just a thumbs up down in the comments, hit that like button so we can get this video pushed out and we get some momentum behind it. Because if that doesn't happen, I can't bring out part 2 and 3 to Wormhole, which I really want to do for you guys. So hook it up down in the comments and hit that like button. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's give a better introduction as to what Wormhole is so we can get a better visual of what this project is. Take a look at your screen with me here. We have introduction. Wormhole is a decentralized interoperability protocol that enables cross-chain asset transfers and generalized messaging passing across more than 40 EVM and non-EVM blockchains. The protocol provides a chain-agnostic communication layer that allows applications on one network to securely move value and coordinate state changes on another. This functionality supports use cases ranging from token bridging and cross-chain swaps to governance, Oracle updates, and tokenized asset. The protocol launched in 2020 as the first token bridge between Solana and Ethereum. We'll repeat that. The protocol launched in 2020 as the first token bridge between Solana and Ethereum. Huge players, right? Supported by a small engineering team and grant from the Solana Foundation. The early bridge helped catalyze Solana's DeFi ecosystem by enabling ETH and ERC20 capital to move on to Solana, supplying liquidity to many of the network's earliest DeFi protocols. So to kind of give you a quick visual of how to think of this, if you're in crypto at all, even if you are fairly new, you probably are aware of what Swift is. Swift is a middleman messaging system. I know this is going to not be exactly right, so for all of my developers down in the comments, I know it's not technically right, but I'm trying to give people the overall visual. So this is what Wormhole is doing. These blockchains are all in their own independent silos. They're doing amazing things on the side, but how do those blockchains talk to one another and move together seamlessly, or being interoperable, as we will call it? So if they can't be interoperable, then they can't really go anywhere. They're just in their own little silos. So this is where Wormhole becomes the middleman, and they can funnel all their information through Wormhole, and they can do that without needing a wrapped token to make it happen. You can keep your native token moving along different blockchains, which is mind-blowing because that has been one of the issues with blockchain as a whole. Well, let's keep reading on more about Wormhole and the different products they offer so we can see their ecosystem as we start looking at it at scale here. So check it out. This comes from the same article. It says, since launching, Wormhole has broadened from a wrapped asset bridge into a fully interoperability stack. Messaging layer delivers authenticated messages between chains. Asset and data transfer layer includes wrapped token transfer, which is WTT, native token transfers, which is NTT, queries, settlements, and multi-chain governance tooling. Application layer includes Wormhole Portal, Connect, NTT Launchpad, and developer SDKs. At scale, Wormhole has facilitated over $70 billion in cumulative bridge volume and processed more than 1 billion cross-chain messages. So let's go ahead and dive deeper into their NTT. So this is what makes Wormhole very valuable, and this is what makes institutions want them. And for the people that are following Chainlink, you might asking, okay, so why won't they use CCIP? Well, hopefully reading through the rest of these next couple of articles here, you'll have a better understanding of why you would go with NTT as an institution versus CCIP. That's for all my developers out there. You know what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and jump into this story here. Follow along with me on your screen. It says early cross-chain bridges largely relied on lock and mint mechanisms, where tokens are locked on source chain and wrapped representations are minted on a destination chain. Over time, this model led to multiple wrapped versions of the same asset existing on a single network, fragmenting liquidity, increasing operational complexity for integrators, and exposing the ecosystem to significant security risks that have resulted in multiple large-scale bridge exploits. Wormhole continues to support wrapped token transfers through its WTT framework, but NTT, Native Token Transfer, introduces an alternative model for multi-chain asset issuance. Rather than producing multiple unrelated wrapped assets, NTT defines a canonical token representation controlled by the original issuer or contract administrator and governed by the single multi-chain supply policy. So with NTT, they don't have to use a wrapped version of an asset anymore to move it across chain. They can keep that native token flowing through Wormhole across chain, which is huge because, as you heard just now, it was causing a lot of confusion and there was fragments in payments. It was just very messy at the end of the day. It caused more problems than it was solving. This is where we step in with that NTT. So let's keep reading more about it and get a better visual of how this works. So hopefully you'll have a better understanding of what NTT is and how it works and why it's important. So go ahead and check out this article. We'll keep on reading along with me here. It says how NTT works conceptually. NTT is designed as an open framework for multi-chain asset issuance rather than a rigid token standard. It provides standardized interfaces for cross-chain distribution while leaving a key design choices to token users. Most deployments follow either hub and spoke or burn and mint architectures, but the framework is permissionless and flexible enough to support any configuration that uses locking and burning mechanisms. Hub and spoke locking, which is what Ripple is using, I believe. The original token supply remains on designated primary chain while equivalent tokens are issued on destination chains through issuer-controlled contracts. Unlike traditional bridges, the model standardizes issuance through a single canonical interoperability setup rather than multiple independent third-party wrapped tokens. Burn and mint is burning, so tokens are burned at the source chain and minted on the destination chain, ensuring a single circulating supply is maintained across networks at any given time. Beyond these models, a defining feature of NTT is end-to-end configurability. Issuers retain control over contract upgrades, token parameters, and verification logic, allowing deployments to be tailored to regulatory compliance and architectural requirements and adjusted over time without deploying core infrastructure. So let's think of what that's really doing for institutions that want to use this, because get your mind out of retail using this. This isn't for retail. Like, this whole thing isn't for retail. it's for us to interact with it, but wasn't never meant for us to invest in and use these tokens the way that we want to do so, right? We just got lucky and got ahead of the crowd here. So really, that's huge that we're here right now. But think about it, if you're an institution and you're moving to something with crypto and this is all new to you, you want to make sure your assets and anything in your company is secure. So, and you have autonomy and control over those assets. With the old way of wrapping assets, you don't have that ability. So let's go back and highlight that end of this paragraph here. It says that NTT is end-to-end configurability. So it gives issuers retain control over contract upgrades, token parameters, verification logic, deployments to be tailored to regulatory compliance or architecture requirements and adjust over time without redeploying core infrastructure. So this is something that can be manipulated without having to reset your core infrastructure, and it gives you control over the information and pieces of your assets that you want. Again, this is huge if you are an institution. But let's keep reading on more about NTT and let's give a better understanding of the adoption of it and how it's been used in today's world. And we're going to keep on with the same article, so let's read on with me here. It says NTT adoption of Wormhole's NTT framework is already visible across regulated institutional deployments and crypto native ecosystems. Of course, most famously, we have the Ripple integrates Wormhole for multiple multi-chain interoperability. As you can see, we have Wormhole, Ripple, XRP, Ledger. If we keep on reading down here, it says Ripple's integration of Wormhole's NTT framework provides a clear example from a regulated payments context. Ripple announced the plans to expand Ripple's USD, RLUSD, a US dollar stablecoin issued under NYDFS Limited Purpose Trust Company, beyond the XRP ledger and Ethereum and multiple Ethereum layer 2s or L2s, including Optimism, Base, Inc., and Unichain. Using NTT allows RLUSD to remain natively issued and issuers controlled while accessing liquidity and applications across chains. Ripple has positioned RLUSD as the first DFS regulated, trusted issued stablecoin to operate on these L2 networks, framing the deployment as convergence of regulatory oversight and on-chain efficiency. The multi-chain rollout is also designed to strengthen shared liquidity with XRP, enabling RLUSD and wrapped XRP to function as primary liquidity pairs across supported chains. So now companies have the ability to have their native asset, their native token under their control still while accessing liquidity and other applications across multiple chains. So this is a huge unlock for what Wormhole is doing for Ripple, RLUSD, but it's not just about Ripple, RLUSD, which is, yes, it's huge, but what does it do for the rest of this space, right? What does it do for the rest of this vertical and horizontal when we really look at it as a business model? This unlocks so much potential, right? Well, let's keep reading more on and let's look at the different partners that this unlocks, because if you're a BlackRock, VanEck, these bigger companies, you want control of your assets. You want to be able to move it seamlessly. You don't want a lot of headaches and frictions because you have so much other things to worry about than are your payments going through? Are you getting held up? Did the network slip? There's so many things to worry about. And if you want true adoption, you got to make sure it's seamless and easy as possible. This is a new technology that scares people. So let's keep moving on to the partnerships, and I'll shut up and get off my soapbox on that. But let's jump into it and check it out with me. We have Wormhole's institutional adoption is visible across several major issuers and product categories. BlackRock's Build L, tokenized by Securitize, launched a new share class on Solana with cross-chain interoperability enabled by Wormhole and later expanded to BNB chain. Apollo's tokenized credit ensures exposure through the Apollo Diversified Credit Securitized Fund, the ACRED, supports cross-chain transfers via Wormhole and has expanded to additional networks, including Inc. and SEI. Wormhole also supports multi-chain access for tokenized investment vehicles beyond credit and cash. The next V-Bill fund uses Wormhole to enable cross-chain mobility and tokenized fund shares, while Hamilton Lane Senior Credit Opportunity Fund exposure is issued natively on Ethereum and Optimism, with Wormhole providing the interoperability layer between them. All right, sorry for slipping back and forth there reading that. You guys that have been around a while, you know I'm dyslexic. As I read too much, my eyes give out on me as I'm middle of the paragraph. But we power through it, we'll make it happen either way. So let's think about what's happening here. We have BlackRock, VanEck, we have Ripple, these larger company circles. There's so many more companies we could talk about, which we'll do in different videos, but there are so many big players behind Wormhole that believes in it. And we are seeing how they are using Wormhole to make mass adoption happen through interoperability. Everybody was worried about ISO 20022, yes, which is very important, but the other side of it is once those messaging systems talk to each other, what portal do they go through? Well, we have Wormhole as a way for all that to communicate through each other, which is huge. Now let's read the conclusion from this article again, because they summarize it very well and it gives you a better finishing note for it. So let's go ahead and check it out. It says, closing summary, interoperability has become a prerequisite for meaningful participation in DeFi tokenization and institutional on-chain finance. As liquidity, users, and applications spread across an expanding set blockchains, the ability to move assets and coordinate state securely between networks has shifted from convenience feature to core infrastructure. Wormhole's evolution from an early Solana Ethereum bridge into a generalized cross-chain messaging protocol reflects this shift, with security and verifiable execution positioned as a foundational design requirements. This focus is evident across Wormhole's architecture and product stack. The native token transfers enable canonical issuers controlled multi-chain assets to avoid the fragmentation and operational complexity associated with wrapped tokens, while Wormhole Portal extends this infrastructure into a user-facing gateway for cross-chain transfers, swaps, and activity coordination. Together, this layer supports consistent asset movement across applications and venues without sacrificing control, security, or composability. So to bring it all together, Wormhole is bringing a seamless, agnostic way for these blockchains and their tokens to communicate and run through each other's networks. This is massive for institutions because it still gives them the control of their assets. They can move it across chains without using a wrapped version of it, which can get convoluted and sticky and confusing. This brings a clear, concise way to move your assets through other blockchains, which is huge. So that's all I have for you in this video. But if you like this kind of content where you don't have hype and FOMO and FUD and all these wild predictions, you want straight facts coming from these sources, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you did like this video and you made it this far in, please hit that like button, leave a comment down below. It definitely helps get this algorithm moving, so I really do appreciate it. But that's all I have for you guys on this video. Before I let you go, as always though, take care of yourself, take care of the people around you, and become that change that you want to see. I will see you on the next one.